Hey, welcome back. And today we're going to be looking at the instrument housing, and I want to show you all the many different options that we have for parts to upgrade and repair the instruments housing. This is the one that came off the bike that we're working on, and it's totally seems very serviceable. It does have some markings in here from the cables rubbing on it over the years and that sort of thing. I'm going to go ahead and reuse it. Unless it's cracked when we get it apart and we have to replace it, I'm probably going to wind up reusing it in this case. But if you were doing a restoration, and as we'll do on this bike at a later date, we do offer these really cool replacements from Rock, and they really matched the texture, and it's super high quality with all the threaded inserts. Comes with a new gasket, and also includes the perimeter gasket and all new screws. Comes in a little bag here. New bolts and screw plate, the whole thing. The only thing is you'll notice is that it is the European version, so it's in German instead of English, but it's still correct for the bike, just the European model. But it's an awesome, awesome part. We're really happy that Rock has put the effort into making such a wonderful replacement part. And it's not available only for these older models, but there is actually 3 versions are available. This is the version for 74, 75, 76, and 77 models. 78, 79, and 80 models, and then everything from 81 on, including the monolever. In addition to the instrument housings, we have a lot of other really cool instrument-related items available. First of all, this is a replacement plug. It works on all model years, and it's really cool because the connectors here are all numbered, and corresponding numbers are printed on the wire. So it's pretty easy to replace this plug and connect it up inside the headlight bucket, and that saves you the expense and hassle of replacing the entire wiring harness, because oftentimes these plugs are messed up from corrosion, or the pins are bent, been over tightened for whatever reason. This is a really great way to repair that issue if you have one. We've also got the foam gaskets for the telltale lights and for the rear cover, and also the perimeter gasket for the housing itself, and nice replacement visors that can replace them. Oftentimes they're kind of cracked and so on. So we'll look at those in a minute. And then also, a very cool part is this instrument housing. It's an LED replacement for the original old one, which we'll look at in a minute so you can see what the original one looks like. But these are actually made in the USA by Cat Dash. Very cool, beautifully made, and they're not only more reliable, but they are substantially brighter, so that your instruments actually can be more usable even in bright daylight. So it's a very cool part. We're really stoked to carry these. Okay, so let's get started taking that old instrument apart. Okay, these visors are still in okay condition, but they're a little hard. A lot of times they'll look like this, they split, and in any event, they're easy enough to remove and replace with new ones. We'll take the rear cover off. All right, it looks like this has been apart at one time or another. These are definitely not the original screws. In fact, they look like something from a a light switch or something like that. So we'll see how much damage that did. That's that. Now you remove these 3 screws here. And on each instrument there are 3 screws. Now you can pretty much just pull all these parts out. The light board is attached with this to the tachometer for the illumination, like so. There we have the tack. On the speedo. So here you can see the gasket that's included with the kit, or that we have a replacement part, as well as this gasket here around the instrument, telltale lights. And this is a very typical problem here, that this is cracked, so the screw is useless. This is a good reason to actually replace the instrument housing, because, well, you're not going to be able to get a good bite on there. Also, there's some cracks in here. Yeah, maybe we should replace this one. But in any case, that's how that all comes apart. Now, to put this all back together again, I've noticed here that the tach drive is frozen. So this tachometer needs to go out and get repaired. So obviously we're at a stopping point with this instrument, but luckily we have something else that we can work on, and I'm going to show you that right now. We luckily have a customer who sent us his instruments to use in this video. It's very, very generous of you to do so. So thanks, San. We're going to get started on putting your instruments together right now. This is a brand new Sieben Rock housing that we're going to use right out of the box. And this gentleman has already had these instruments repaired at Palo Alto Speedometer, and they did a really beautiful job. I mean, they're just perfect. So we're going to demonstrate a reassembly with these cool new parts, and then I'll work on the one for this bike some other time. At least we can move forward with this project today, luckily, because we have this. Now here you can really see the difference between the original part and the cat dash. So the original is basically a soft printed circuit board, and although this one's in pretty good shape, it's sometimes common for corrosion to occur in here on these little copper passages. Sometimes I've seen them broken, so they're just trash. And this part hasn't been available from BMW for a long time. So previously, if this part broke, then you'd have to find a used one or whatever. But luckily, in comes cat dash, great replacement part. Other thing is, every time a bulb would go bad on the old one, like this, you'd have to take this all apart just to replace one bulb. And of course, the generator bulb is, or the alternator light bulb is really important, because when that one goes out, then your charging system doesn't work anymore, in case you didn't know that. So the reason why the charging system will fail when the light goes out is because it's just the circuitry there. I guess it's a safety measure in a way, or I don't know what they were thinking, but it has to be in circuit. So when that bulb is open circuit, the charging system essentially shuts down. And of course, there's a certain amount of resistance in a light bulb, in an incandescent bulb. And so what they've done here is instead of the bulb, it's a much more reliable LED. And of course, there's a resistor built into the circuit. So it does the same thing of exciting the charging system, and so it works. So that's, of course, what we're going to use in this new part. The Sebum Rock instrument housing already comes with this gasket pre-installed, which we also offer as a separate replacement part if you need one. The first thing you want to do is put this plate in here like so, and just start the screws and leave them loose. And then this gasket just lays in place here. You have to tuck it into these little raised bits here and just kind of feed it in around. And leaving the split at the bottom and just letting the two ends overlap each other. Now we can place the instruments inside. Now comes the cat dash piece to sort of feed the LED in here for the illumination into that rectangular hole here. Just like that. So it's laying inside there like so. Now we can go ahead and put the screws in. New ones are supplied with the Sebum Rock instrument housing. Okay, with all the screws started, I'm just going to go in and just snug them down. You don't want to over tighten these screws. Just all the way in, and that's about it. So you don't crack anything. So before installing this part here, we'll want to replace these gaskets. So these are stuck on here, so you just need to kind of carefully peel them away. I'm going to try to clean that adhesive off. Just using a little bit of brake parts cleaner. You could use like WD-40 or Goof Off or different products that could do the same thing. Okay, those are pretty clean now. So these new gaskets are self-adhesive. So we're just gonna peel the paper off. Okay, so we got the new gaskets installed, and now this one let's lay it in like so. And these two screws here are like these sheet metal type screws. The perimeter ones are machine screws. All right, beautiful. Now we're just going to put the new visors on. You'll notice that there's a little raised portion here. and a little recess on there, and those line up. That gets the orientation correct, and they just can be pushed on like this. Just like new, better than new. So that's about it for today as far as the instruments goes. I wish we were putting our own instrument cluster back on our bike, which would bring it that much closer to being done, but we'll get to that in a few days. We're going to get the tachometer repaired and move on with that. In the meantime, Sam, this is on its way back to you for your project, and thanks again for letting us borrow it for this video. So there'll be a couple more videos, 1 or 2 more I think on this bike, and we're getting really close to wrapping it up. So make sure you, if you haven't already, that you're subscribed to our channel so you'll know when those come out. And there are links to a lot of the parts that we used here, that we demonstrated on this video here, and also the opportunity for you to leave comments. If you have any questions, we'll get to you as soon as we possibly can. So thanks again for being a Boxer 2-valve fan, and we'll see you on the next video. Hopefully we make it smoke and noise pretty soon too.